there's three items there. We'll add, after that, HCRC, Hillsdale County Road Commission contracts. And then under new business, the first item will be police body camera for $29,741.19 for 5 years. So those are the three additions to the agenda.
What's your thoughts on the
Make a motion to approve the agenda with the three changes.
Support, Mayor.
motion made, supported, questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, supervisor's comment. I am going to address this, part of the post on the back. This was brought to our attention here last week, I think it was. As it's posted up there, it's misinformation. The letter of intent that was signed, number one, all board members did not approve that except for Steve Meckley. I wasn't even here, so. The motion that was made and supported and voted on I was not a part of that. I don't think that matters, but if it's stated in here, I'd just like to see that corrected. Also, the voting is explained in the back there. The only thing that they voted on basically that's gonna change is like 9 days prior to election day that we have the early voting, in-person voting. If you want to put your ballot through the tabulator, you'll have to go to City of Hillsdale. If you just wanna come in and vote, fill out your ballot and put it in as an absentee ballot, you do that here, Mike, the clerks will take care of that. We did not move, I don't agree with what's going on, let me tell you that, but, if you wanna vote in person, in Somerset Township, in this, Township Hall, you come in, you fill out your ballot, you put it in. Yeah, if you don't have an absentee ballot, you'll have to fill it out, give it application to Mike, then you'll get your ballot, you'll fill it out, fold it up, put it in the envelope, and the day of election or prior to, I think you've got a little bit of flexibility now, but either way, that's when the votes will be counted, absentee ballots will be counted then. If you personally wanna feed yours into the tabulator, or the mistabulator, I call them, but anyways, you have to go to City Hillsville, that's the only thing that changed. But if you want to vote in Somerset, you can do it right here. You don't have to go to Hillsdale to vote, have to go to Hillsdale to feed it through the tabulator, that's it. So with that, is there anything else on that?
No, both precincts would be open, and you would have a situation where this is just the third layer. So for all future elections I put on the board, you'll always have precincts here, and then you'll be able to do 45 days prior to election when we get the ballots. You'll be able to vote absentee. There are two things that happen with the absentee. Number one, there is a perpetual list now of the people that voted in May, and up on that application, you check a box, and the box said, there were 211 people that did that, and I want a ballot for all future elections. That means you will not have to fill out an application ever again. It'll be, that one permanent application will be matched against all signatures, the return envelope for the, with the ballot in it. And then there'll be the permanent AV list, which will go out, and that will be to, all the people that signed up for permanent AV. So the perpetual people will get a ballot automatically without an application. The, normal, permanent AV people will get an application. Now the state has included a return envelope with postage on it. The township will put the postage on the envelope going out, and then the envelope that comes back with the ballot in it will be prepaid. So there's two things, the return envelope and application, and the return envelope which will be purple now instead of green, and that will be prepaid by the state.
Well, what you guys voted on last month has
Nothing new, this is a baby. Yeah, right, I'm sorry, okay.
What we're talking about are the changes.
But you asked me, yes, okay.
Yeah, I thought some of the changes.
All right, fine.
Both read, yeah, thank you. Move before public comment.
Do we have somebody that's gonna go to Hillsdale from our area here and sit?
We'll give, Jason's gonna have the floor, if you wanna come up and,
Scott?
All right. Thanks for hearing me tonight. Usually I kind of speak off the cuff and, ad-lib a lot. I'm just gonna stick to it tonight. You guys already addressed specifically on this 9 days of early voting, but I'm just gonna go ahead and as you all know, there was a flyer that went out addressing our elections in Somerset Township. Some on the board may believe that it was inaccurate and misleading. For that, I apologize that you feel that way. I myself don't think there was anything inaccurate that was put on that flyer other than Tim Shaw was not present. I feel the community needed to be informed sooner rather than later, not at the last minute with no say. I do not apologize, however, for putting out the flyer to inform our community on the topic of signing the letter of intent regarding our polling place in our elections. I believe that the letter of intent opens the door to the possibility that it can be used in regards to our elections in general. This could be the first step by signing this letter. Give an inch, they're gonna take a mile. For the past 6 months, this topic has been brought before the board 3 times for a vote for this letter of intent to be signed. And twice, there was a vote of no. Last month, while Tim Shaw was absent, wasn't present, had no chance to vote or bring to discussion, the board voted yes, except for Steve Meckley, who was still a hard no. Some may indicate that the letter of intent is in regards to the in-person early voting. If that is so, and you've already stated, I respectfully request that this time it be confirmed to be solely in regards to and only to be for the in-person early voting. Is that correct?
Say it again.
If this is so, I respectfully request at this time it be confirmed to be solely in regards to and only to be for the in-person early voting.
we'll let, Abe's gonna address this stuff, so.
Okay, but I will tell you that it's the 3 things we said. Number 1, you can vote 45 days early with AD. Number 2, you can vote in person. And number 3, the third layer is if you want to vote early 9 days, you can go over to Hillsdale if in fact we sign the agreement. Now remember, the letter of intent only allowed me to go to the meetings and be part of the other 17 people that signed the letter of intent. But what you just said was wrong. When you said that they voted on the letter of intent, no, the letter of intent never had a second. Twice it came up and never was seconded. So there's a whole lot different between not having a second and voting on
Sent
it.
their report timeline. Go ahead.
Okay.
All right. I myself can't come to any reasonable explanation of why this letter should be signed if the board intended to keep our elections here. It had been suggested in the past that by signing this letter, it would give the board the opportunity to observe the new election process. Why would the board have to sign anything to be able to observe the process? You should be entitled regardless. If the few of us that have been attending these meetings showed any percentage of how the community felt about this, it should have showed that the overwhelming percentage of our community was a no vote. Yet, after hearing from us and our concerns, the majority of the board proceeded to vote yes anyway. Looking at the number of people that have come in attendance tonight, I feel it shows that we need to be informed on topics being brought before the board.
Jason, 3 minutes are up.
I'm just 2 seconds. And that we want our elections here, left alone. With that, I respectfully request the yes votes be rescinded and a no vote be entered. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the attendance of all you in the community.
Anybody else? You wanted,
Yeah, I just, number 1, I think we should
just,
have,
let me clarify, you haven't been here this is not an open dialogue, so if anybody else wants to speak, you're welcome to come up and speak to the board. We are not gonna answer questions at this time, you can address the board and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, number one, I would like to say, I want to go to one-day voting. I can understand if you are in Florida and you are unable to get here, so the fact that we're gonna give another 647 days to vote is absolutely ridiculous. The second, I wanna know what the taxpayer, how much we are gonna have to pay to afford to send somebody there, to, somebody is gonna have to use their own gas to go there for 9 extra days. Who's gonna pay for that? No question, no answers, right? Do they answer you?
Anybody else? Bob?
Go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
please go.
Good evening, I just wanted to touch base on a couple of things on the agenda this evening. Number one, I am asking if you are going to be posting an open position on the Parks and Rec Committee, because they've been one person down for quite some time. Sharon Gretsch isn't a member, she's the liaison. And my other question is on the finance reports. I have come here before you 3 or 4 months requesting each of the funds be given the fund balance, and I believe that's required, but we still don't have the capital improvements fund showing, we don't have the Parks and Rec Committee showing, and we don't have the police fund showing on this. The other thing is, you have some things under new business, like retirement, so I don't recall that being on last month, so I was just questioning what we're continuing, maybe I missed it. But, those were my questions, or my comments. Thank you.
Bob?
Thank you. First, I'm from Scipio Township, and this young man from Jerome seems to really be adamant about his thoughts, and the things that are strongly said need to be at least listened to and give some strong thought to it. I mean, we all need to be concerned about these ballots and how we're voting. I talked to Marty Cass. I had opportunity. Marty has pretty much an open door. I hope that, you know, any of you that would like to call on her, I hope that you can, you know, drive up there and see her and get questions that you don't have answered here tonight, get them from her. Abe Dane is here tonight, I believe is the other secretary, is that how I say it? Chief Deputy Clerk. And he's got more explanations that if you need to ask questions even after the meeting, I'm sure you could address them. But for myself, I find it to be wrong to going to the county. I think it's gonna be taking away from our townships. Later on, there's a new rule, there'll be new laws, and to reinvent the wheel, it's absurd. We voted for this proposition. Leave it as it is, leave it to the townships. Litchfield Township has concerned themselves about it and are considering making it a paper one. They want to go back to paper. If that was so, I would consider that being the most admirable thing we can do in any one of our townships. This is the authority. We are the ones that are governing what's being governed over us. We need to make the decisions here, and I hope you all will pay attention to that. The other was, Mike, can I make it short? On that small little checkbox, it was for the permanency that was there. Not a lot of people know what that little checkbox is. I don't know if you could send that in there. I'm sorry.
It's on the board.
Okay, well, I was just saying that a lot of people, when you send it out to them, didn't know that that little box was for that. They just were checking the box, didn't know it was permanent. So I was just saying maybe we could add something in the envelope, or you could. But anyway, thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Township, and we have problems with Cameron. We can't get absentees sent out when you ask for them. We got some problems there. 2020 election we had, the computer went down, couldn't vote. It just had a pile somewhere on that. What we really need to get back to, we've had 3 elections so far that's been corrupt. They've been stolen from us in Michigan and across the country too. And we need paper ballots now. We can't trust anybody anymore. John Rattan basically running for sheriff again, the 4th time. The last election that he had, he did a recount, paid for it, and found mistakes in it. I think it was Scipio, might be the biggest township we have, and found mistakes. They did a analysis on that and found that he should have won by 500 votes in the county. This individual is a constitutional guy, and he would be a constitutional sheriff. That's an executive. The sheriff is the executive of the county. Nobody can come into the county without the sheriff's permission. He's over the FBI, he's over the state, he's over the governor. The founding fathers gave the sheriff to be our person that protects we the people. And so I'm just saying, I've been here since 1964. My dad grew up in this area, my mom did too. It's all here in Litchfield. But I've been coming to Hillsdale back early in the late 40s, okay? And then we finally moved back when I was in high school. So I've seen a lot of stuff from Hillsdale High School. And we do have problems here. And we do have laws, which they broke the law in the 2020. They had the boxes you put it in. And my son got a ballot, North Carolina, to fill out. Friends of ours in our church had 10 of them with different people's names on it because she was renting an apartment. So this is what's going on in the country. And I think we got to get back to paper ballots. And for the time being, get rid of the computers. It's not the computers, it's basically the, what's it? The tabulator, because they're corrupt. And we were told that they're not connected to the outside, but they are connected to the outside. So it goes on and on and on. And I'm just to the point, I don't trust anybody in this county basically anymore. What I've seen growing up in the 1960s. 3 minutes? Gotcha. Okay, thanks guys. Thank you.
Tim, earlier, my name is Deb Bentley. When you were talking about the voting, and you said that you did not agree with all of this. And as our elected supervisor, you need to stand up for us. And you need to stand by what you believe. And you need to represent us, the people who voted for you. Amen. And you need to be that person. And if you don't agree with all this, then don't let it happen. Step down.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you all. 8, Dave has the floor presentation. Dave is the county deputy clerk.
Good evening, Somerset Township Board. Thanks for having me again. Wow. Is this different than the last time I was here? My name's Dave Dane. I'm the Chief Deputy Clerk and Elections Director for the County of Hillsdale. I work under Marty Cass. She appointed me in my position, and she's the elected county clerk. I've given a presentation 2 other times to this board about the early voting and what our plans are. Since then, the legislature has passed some bills. They haven't been given immediate effect. The governor signed those bills this week. It remains to be seen when they adjourn the legislature as to when the bills have effect, because they weren't given immediate effect. But basically, I guess what I would say to this board and to the public present is that Marty Cast and I, and every single township and city clerk in the county that we've talked to, which is all of them, do not like what happened last November with Proposal 2. We didn't support it, but we're stuck with it because the state passed it. So what we've been working on since then is how are we going to follow the law, keep our elections secure, and save the taxpayers' money. So let me just explain to you that you had absentee voting for years now. There are some changes since November to the absentee voting, but you've been able to vote absentee for 45 days before an election. And that has benefited Republican candidates. I believe if you look at the numbers for President Trump in 2016, he benefited from absentee voting. So this is not a huge change with absentee voting. And that's been in place for quite a while, and people have used it. There are processes in place for checking signatures and making sure that someone doesn't vote absentee and then turn around and come in person and vote. None of that's happening, okay? And our clerks do a wonderful job of looking at the signatures, comparing, and making sure that if someone passes away, their ballot is not tabulated, things like that, okay? You can still come to your precinct on election day and vote in person for both precincts 1 and 2 here. That's not going to change. And at the county level, we are not interested in taking over township and city elections. I have a board of commissioner that's right here that will, I doubt he would ever increase our budget to get more staff and run township and city elections. I just don't see that happening. And I'm not interested in it. I say that as a joke, but there's some truth to that.
I just called you a joke, Brent.
What we are doing is simply trying to save the taxpayers' money by offering an early voting option, which is now required, and placing it in the centrally located city of Hillsdale under county control with agreements between every municipal clerk and their boards. So I'm hoping to have something by September to be in front of this board that would be an agreement that could be passed to allow us to do that. My fear, if any one township in the county decides to do this by themselves, which would be their right, it would cost money to buy additional equipment because you can't use the same tabulator. It has to be programmed differently. It would cost for paying election inspectors. I won't even mention finding election inspectors to work 9 days, but paying them would be expensive. Also, the rest of the county, I've traveled around, I've hit every township and city meeting except 2 thus far, and I'll get those next month. And the boards have been favorable to this idea because of the cost savings and because you still have your local piece if voters choose to use that local piece, okay? My fear is if anyone goes it alone, it'll be expensive, and then we'll be advertising and posting and giving notices about this early voting precinct at the county. Here are the days it's operating, here are the hours. If you're anywhere in the county, that any precinct that's their municipality has an agreement with the county, you can come and tabulate your ballot, except asterisk this group over here. And that's gonna be confusing to the voters in this county, is if there's an exception to that, now there's something different and people are gonna get confused on where they're gonna, if they wanna use that early voting piece, where they're gonna go. So that's a fear of mine. And then aside from that, at the county level, we're gonna be really busy. operating this early voting precinct and utilizing inspectors from all over the county, trying to, you know, have people represent the whole county as inspectors throughout the 9 days. And it's gonna be hard for us to be of assistance to a local clerk in another part of the county that's doing it themselves. So we won't be able to give that care and attention to them that we otherwise would, because we'll be running our own early voting precinct. So those are my concerns. Like I said, you know, we care about running this smoothly and having integrity and saving money and keeping our elections secure. As far as paper ballots, that is not an option that a township board or a city board can make. That's something that has to be addressed at the state level with legislation. Actually, I think it might even be a federal law that requires the use of tabulators at this point, but certainly at the state level. So if you want to address that, then you have to talk to your legislators, or possibly your U.S. representative to get that problem fixed. I will say that there was, Mr. Beckwith mentioned a recount for the sheriff's candidate back, I think that was August of 2020. And I was actually a part of that recount. And there were not any notable discrepancies. And I don't remember the details exactly of what happened because that was so long ago, but I know that everything matched up, or if it didn't, it was explainable and there was an explanation. So there was no difference of 500 votes or anything like that. That's inaccurate.
What's your opinion?
So, other than that, I would say that also paper ballots we do have, thank God we have paper ballots, honestly. There are states in the country that don't have paper ballots, and they can't ever fall back on those paper ballots to count them and make sure that the number of votes from the tabulator matches the paper ballots. But we have that here. After every election, we randomly select at least 2, possibly 3 precincts out of this county alone. This happens all over the state though. And the county, along with the township clerks, come together and we audit that precinct. We count the ballots, specifically looking at a certain race on that ballot. We look at all the paperwork, make sure all the certificates are done correctly and match, and everything is done accurately. And I will tell you that those machines don't get tired, and they're not connected to the internet. And they,
That is not.
I will just say that the County of Hillsdale also programs those tabulators in-house. And in other parts of the state, they farm that out to vendors to do that work. We do it in-house, so I'm personally involved with that, and I know exactly what goes into those, into the programming of those machines, because I'm the one that does it. And they work correctly, and they don't get tired, and they count accurately, and we verify that every election with audits. We verified it with recounts in the past. And like I said, thank goodness that we have those paper ballots, because we can look back on those, verify things, and prove that they worked correctly. So I'm glad that Michigan has paper ballots. If they ever got rid of that, I would have some real concern, but so far, that hasn't happened. So, does the board have any questions for me at this time? I just wanted to address some
I
of those
would like
things.
to address, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but the questions that she had, is there a cost to the township for the 9 days? What was your other question?
Well, I believe I remembered something about traveling to the county. You can come right to your local township.
Well, no,
I
no,
wanna
no,
know, I
are
wanna
we gonna have
know if we have
represent-
a representative at your Hillsdale location. Is somebody from our area right here, are you gonna call upon us?
I'm going to
Or is
get,
it just gonna be you? Cause I've gotta be honest with you, I don't really trust.
this is operated just like a normal precinct. So there are Republican and Democrat inspectors that have to be there.
From here?
Well,
Or only from-
we're only paying for 4 inspectors
Oh.
a day. So I'm gonna do my best to rotate and call on the township and city clerks to give me inspectors that can be used on a rotation and try and represent everybody that way. But it's a precinct, so a normal precinct has a public viewing area. If people wanna step in and observe, that's gonna be your right to do. There won't, it's not a big space where we plan to have this, but, you know, there will be a public viewing area, so.
Okay, is there gonna be any additional costs to the township?
The costs are gonna be,
And all that?
the tabulator we're gonna purchase, any other equipment we're gonna purchase. There is an expense, but it's gonna be split evenly among all the municipalities. There are, 18 townships and 4 cities that are going to chip into this. And the state is actually allocating funds. I don't know how much that is going to be yet.
That was my understanding, that they were gonna pay for the majority of the.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that they'll pay for all the upfront costs and maybe even some of the continuing, costs of paying inspectors and whatnot.
So
But I
I'm
don't know.
sorry, why can't we get that money here? You're threatening that it's gonna come out of our pocket. Why can't the state just send that to us, instead of us having to worry that everybody in
The
our area?
legislature appropriated $26 million to help fund early voting precincts. That 26 million has to be split, what is there, like 1,500 townships, and then I don't know how many cities in the state. That's not gonna go very far. However, they have allocated 30 million for counties specifically that are going to have agreements with townships to run early voting. And they're doing that to incentivize these county agreements so that they can save money, because there's not enough money, and the manufacturers of the equipment won't be able to fulfill orders for additional equipment for every precinct in the whole state, which is not feasible.
Number one, we don't want those machines. And number two, I believe you said $56 million.
No, 26.
But you just said an additional 30.
An additional 30 just for the counties to help with early voting.
So that's
Yeah.
$56 million.
But that's not gonna be available for a local township, that's only for the counties if they are having agreements
If we
with
then go.
townships.
I think, from what, well, Mike attended the first, and what, and I attended the second on proposal 2, and the majority of the answers were, we don't know that yet. We don't.
Well,
know.
that's been passed, we don't know the
Well,
amount that they're gonna
What
give
I'm saying
us.
is, a lot of the questions that were asked, that was the response
Yeah.
from the attorney working for the state.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that you don't have 100% have all the answers that we need. And that's the thing I don't like about this whole issue. And, I basically agree with the sentiment there. I don't trust that, and, until we get, this is the stuff, you can get it organized. To me, I likened it to signing a contract for somebody to give me a bid on putting cabinets in my house. I don't understand that, but if that's what you need to get the state funds, we'll take a look at it. But, I think that was the 2 questions that were asked about that. I will, if we can be respectful and be quick, I will open the floor for questions, if you want to answer questions.
That'd be fine, yeah.
Go ahead.
If this is a normal precinct and it's just a normal voting, why do we need a new tabulator?
Because
Like,
it's,
why do we need a special one?
it's the same tabulator as any tabulator in your normal precinct. It just has to be programmed differently because it has to accept ballots from all of the precincts throughout the county.
So you need a brand new tabulator, or you just need a tabulator that needs to be reprogrammed?
We need an additional tabulator because all the other tabulators will be used for in-person voting at the precincts. And even though the early voting precinct won't be open on election day, they have to be sealed up. Votes cannot be tallied until after 8 p.m. election day. It's illegal to tally the votes until after the polls close on election day. So those the tabulator for the early voting precinct will be locked up, sealed up, all the ballots will be in approved containers, sealed up, locked up until 8 o'clock election day, when we can close that and tally the votes.
I
Mary?
have 2
No,
questions.
just a minute, Mary.
Okay, so if you are consolidating the entire county, all of the different precincts in the entire county into one precinct, how are you gonna divide those out so that, because you said, we still get can have charge of ours, ours are still gonna count in our precinct, how do we know that? How can you say, how's it gonna recognize each precinct?
Each ballot style has a unique identifier on that ballot that will, the machine will read and know that it's a ballot from this precinct, and it will tally the votes for that precinct.
So it's gonna come out with the results by our precincts, but you're calling it a separate precinct, all one precinct,
So
how's
if
that
you're
work?
familiar with the reports that are on the county clerk's website after each election, there's gonna be an extra column. There will be an early voting column, and then there will be an in-person or election day column. And then there will be a totals column that adds the two together. So
Okay.
it'll differentiate between the two, and you'll be able
And
to.
somebody's gonna reconcile that all of those that are divvied out to the different precincts totals what you've got in that machine, and if not, you're gonna count all of those early votes and divide them up by precinct so that you can verify it, right?
The machine counts everything, and.
I know it does,
We-
and I know you say that it's accurate.
Each precinct, at the end of, like after 8 PM election day,
Mhm.
you have to balance
Yes.
how many voters you've had with how many ballots have gone through the tabulator. And so that will be done.
Yeah, okay, and I know you say that these machines are accurate, and you checked them and all, but I've seen data from a lot of different precincts that say it didn't add up. And they've got discrepancies after the fact, with stuff that's still in there in the machine.
Well,
So-
without specific data that you can point to, I can't address that. All I can say is that in Hillsborough County, our precincts match up,
Talk to Steph and Scott.
balance. And then our board of canvassers meets and looks through those as well. And then, we do the audits, as I said, and they match up. We've done recounts and they match up.
Okay, I'd just like somebody to, as far as it not being attached to the internet and not being available and all, I think there's probably needs to be somebody who can answer some of the experts that have, come out with different data on that have checked these machines.
Well, an expert can't be a self-proclaimed expert. They have to be someone that
Okay, what,
actually knows
what's your name
elections.
again?
Yep.
I'm sorry. You in the back, yes.
Michelle Shepherd is my name.
Michelle, go ahead.
I would like to know, how much is this tabulator going to cost?
$5,500.
$5,500, okay. And then you said you're the one that programs it?
I am directly involved with the programming of the machine.
And how much do we pay you an hour to program it?
Not enough.
That's not very, I don't think it's
Sorry, that was
funny
a
at all.
jab, that was a jab.
But I don't think it's funny at all that you laugh
I
about it.
make
because we're-
$42,000 a year, and I can tell you that in the rest of the state, my counterparts make way more than that.
Okay. And then also I would like to know if we decide that nobody from our township is gonna go and vote at this, and our board still gets on board with it, does the cost get split equally among everybody? So even if nobody goes, we still have to pay the same amount as everybody else?
You're required by law to have an early voting precinct, so everybody pays an even split with the
You gotta
one side.
understand, this is not the township board, it's not the county, it's the Yahoos and Lansing
Oh,
that
it's
made all
Rich
these
Whitmer.
decisions.
Trust me, I know who it is.
All right, so, I mean,
Yeah.
Dave's doing his job, he's doing what he's obligated to do. I don't know if he agrees with it or not, doesn't
I
matter.
don't agree with it.
I do have
you gotta do it.
the $56 million, is that gonna be in a fund for just this county thing?
Only 30 million is split with the counties. So I believe there's 83 counties, and it's only, my understanding is a county's only eligible for part of that if they have agreements with municipalities, which not all of them are, so.
Any other questions real quick?
Yeah. Here's the problem with voting. is
Do
that-
you have a question for Abe or no?
Well, I need to share this because our precinct delegates, the ballots were fixed. That's a 20-year felony. They had to put a 1 in front of our township. We were never told that. They threw all our delegates out the last day. They had them for 7 weeks. And they threw them out. Their people all won because they knew what was going on. This is the corruption that's going on in this county, I'm telling you. It's election fraud. And they took 133 delegates off down to 100. They had no right to do that. That's only the party that does that. I'm the oldest man in the Republican Party, 51 years. I was the chairman in 1986 for the party, and I've seen this come and go and come and go. This is election fraud. And if you can't trust the people who are running the delegates, how can you trust any other election? Paper ballots right here. And you gotta watch it, because it's corrupt.
Change it.
It is absolutely corrupt.
You have something for this meeting, okay, let's move on.
Abe,
Yes, sir.
correct me if I'm wrong, at this point in time, here's where we're at. You'll be able to vote in November if there's an election, in person, precinct 1, precinct 2. You'll be able to vote 45 days early with absentee ballots. We have not signed any agreement that says we're a part of the central voting. If we don't sign that agreement down the road, then I will have a precinct, consolidated precinct here for 9 days. That 9 days will cost estimated $10,000. Okay, that $10,000 covers a $5,000 tabulator, and then the additional people that man it for those 9 days for 8 hours a day. My estimate is that upwards of, or less than 50 people will come through in those 9 days. Okay? Because they have the opportunity to vote 45 days early, and they have the opportunity to vote in person. So we'll be here for 9 days. If we do not agree with signing the centralized voting, and that's where we're at this point in time. We have not signed any agreement to be part of the central voting,
Correct,
and no one has.
correct. The agreements
That's
are
where we're
not
at this
in
point in
place.
time.
Ray?
One question based on what you said. If we had the county doing it, what does it cost to the township?
Well, that depends on how much the state throws in, and, if the state threw in nothing, I estimate the first year it would cost, and granted, the first year is more expensive because of the equipment, and also the notice that has to get mailed to every registered voter. It's somewhere in the area of $42,000 for the first year.
The question is,
Well, divided by 22.
pardon? What was that?
42,000 something divided by 22.
About
That's if the
10,000.
state, but the state is going to cover something, so
Okay, but
hopefully a large
dividing
portion.
by the 42, because that's the counties and the cities,
Yeah, there's 18 townships and 4 cities.
township and the city.
So he's $1,900 each township.
So that'd be 2,000. You're saying 2,000 versus 10,000 if we did.
But the
Correct.
10,000 is only the first year.
But
so
that's
it's
the
5,000.
first, yeah, that's actually like, that would be, excuse me, that'd be like the first election, which is the presidential primary in February. After that, once the equipment's paid for, it would be way cheaper,
Right.
so.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, so you're saying that this is gonna be passed on to the taxpayers eventually? Whatever the remaining cost is, minus the state and the county contributing and all that, right? It's gonna go to the taxpayers.
This is a Lansing thing.
Okay.
I'm hoping they throw in enough that offsets it, but
So,
I don't know.
so my question is, how much of an increase are we looking at? Is it a minuscule amount of an increase in our taxes?
Yeah, it would be. I mean, we're looking
So
at, once
who,
the
in
equipment
their
is
right
paid for,
mind,
we're
would
looking
give
at
up our
like $300 or
elections and not pay
$400
extra
per
in our
election.
taxes?
Right.
You wanna take our election and charge us more.
I would
Is
pay
this
more of my
essentially what
taxes.
you're saying?
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
essentially what
this
you're
is,
saying.
talk to your, you know, this is
I understand this is
Lansing. We're
more of the
just dealing
state
with this.
and legislators issue, and, you know, yeah, we've gotta contact our legislators and all that. And the fact of the matter is, they don't listen to us anyways, they rig the whole proposal to vote and put it right underneath our noses, and now we're dealing with it.
But I was-
This is more confusing.
Ray, did you have another question?
Well, just an observation, just a statement, that if they're adding a cost to whomever, whether it's the county or us, and that's a taxable cost that has to be paid, we're gonna get taxed either by the state, if they are given the money, or the township, who has to spend the money, or the county, who has to spend the money. So that tax is gonna be there no matter what. The cost is what you look at. The cost I'm hearing, if we do it, it's $10,000. If you do it and we participate, it's $2,000?
The first election.
For our cost to you.
If the state doesn't fund any of it, yes.
Yeah, so either we, the township, spend $10,000 and do it in-house, or we spend $2,000 max to have it at the county for those 9 days. But there's the cost factor that you're looking at. So I'm
Yep,
presenting.
that's the biggest piece to us as well, yes. I would like to just say that, first of all, I don't believe that there was enough election fraud in the state of Michigan to change the outcome of the 2020 election. So we really have, wait, let me finish.
Come on, Abe.
We really need to consider here is that the people of the state voted this in. And so, look to your neighbors, but not really in our community, look in the rest of the state. We need to defend the family, conservative values. We need to take back our education system and stop fighting amongst ourselves as conservatives and be unified and look to where they're winning. The left is winning in education and in the bigger cities, and we're here in Hillsborough County, and the conservatives in this county, and this is not unique to us, are just fighting amongst each other.
We're gonna go back to early voting, and we don't need, I think, we already know that group back there, and probably most of us don't really agree with what's going on. There's nothing we can do to change that. You know, we gotta get around to take care
Yeah,
of
I
business
just,
first.
that was important to get off my chest, so,
Yeah.
sorry.
I don't disagree with you, but Mike.
Okay, would you please describe a AV counting board? Now, currently, as we vote, when you come in to vote, you come in precinct 1, precinct 2, in the middle are people processing the AV ballots. We have over 1,000 AV ballots that we process. The state sent out applications to everybody in the 2020 election, and we had 1,000 AV ballots we processed. So this group in the middle, as you walk through, they were processing AV ballots. I bring them those 1,000 ballots that are tied to what's called QVF at 8 o'clock on election day. All right, they start the process of opening up the envelope, checking signatures, and putting those ballots in piles of 10. A Democrat and Republican walks over to the tabulator with the individual. The individuals are gonna tabulate those 10 ballots as we have time, as it opens up within the normal voting process. They go to the tabulator, put those 10 through, and come back and get ready to take the next 10. So that's what the work was being done here. The canvassing board said it's too noisy. It's distracting away from the poll book and the people voting here, the people voting on that side. You guys need to have an AV board. And we looked at Jerome Community Center. They will have everything they need, a generator to be able to have backup on electricity. And will you explain that to the group, please?
So, an AV counting board is, in election law, it's allowed that a township such as Somerset, the election commission of the township can pass a resolution that would create an AV counting board, and you could consolidate precincts 1 and 2 into that AV counting board. So then your AV ballots would not be processed in the precinct on election day, they would be processed in a separate precinct called an AV counting board, which is, there are challenges that are allowed in, but it's sequestered. Like if you're in there as a poll watcher or a challenger, you gotta stay the whole time until polls close, you can't leave. So that way, I believe the intent, without being a member of the Board of Canvassers, I am at each meeting though, and I was at the meeting where they discussed this, and the intent is that your AV ballots, because you have like 1,200 of them that were processed in November of 2022, if you took those out of this location, it would be easier for your election inspectors to focus on what's going on in here. And then that piece would be elsewhere, and it would be quieter, and they would be able to do that more without distraction, okay? So yes, that is essentially how that works, and I think it's a good idea for Somerset Township to consider.
Okay, thank you.
Could I just ask about the chain of custody, if we're moving ballots from one place to another, who's gonna watch over that?
It wouldn't be any different if Mike's gonna do that, if he takes them back here, if he takes them over there. He's still, as far as I know, the statute, constitution in the state of Michigan, he's responsible for Somerset Township elections. He's 100% responsible.
And they're in a locked, sealed, container that's actually been inspected by the, bipartisan board of canvassers and approved. And then there's a seal on it with a unique number that cannot be broken. It's actually a crime to break that seal after an election, after the inspectors seal it up. It's the inspectors of that night in the precinct that seal that up. It's a crime to open it until the security's released.
I can say with 100% certainty that our elections here, the integrity, everything is there.
Yep.
What happens after it leaves here, nobody knows. But thanks, Abe.
Yep,
We gotta move
thank
on.
you. Appreciate your time.
Perennial Park Dan. Hi, Dan.
My name's Grace. I'm just gonna touch base on the Oslo Senior Center really quick.
How's he doing it? If anybody has any other questions about elections, Mike's got the.
My name's Grace. I'm from the Oslo Senior Center. Thank you for allowing me to speak for the center, just bringing attention to it and letting them know that their services are here. So in the folder, you'll see on the right side, there's a bunch of different brochures, resources that you can use for our different services such as respite care, home assistance, Meals on Wheels, our fitness center, all that fun stuff. And then there's also our July activities calendar. We added movie time, cornhole, game day, things for the older adults to just get to socialize, be around people of their own age and stuff, have fun. We have lunch every day for $4. Pretty chill. And then on the left side, there's more statistics and stuff. So with the population of 4,277, 14.9% are older adults within Somerset County, Somerset Township. And then for the Care Advantage report, it also just breaks down like how many clients we have that take like do each different service that we provide and everything like that. And then we do have some upcoming events. So in August, on the 11th, we're gonna have an elder abuse expo. If anybody's interested in going to that, it's gonna be information from different vendors around Oslo County about financial abuse or physical abuse for elders and everything. And then we're also gonna have a rummage sale on the 5th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the center. And that's about it.
One comment for you, Supervisor Tim Shaw, trustee is Dave Meckley and Steve Meckley and Dave Pumphrey on your left side.
Alright.
You wanna update that?
Alrighty.
Any other questions for, thank you, Rick. Moving on, reports, fire chief.
Okay, we had 85 calls from June, we had a total of 452, down about 61 from last year. We had 68 medical, 7 fires, 6 vehicle accidents, and 4 miscellaneous calls. As of yesterday, it looks like, Andrew Hamilton will be done in September. Yeah, so bad.
Questions for fire chief? Any questions? Treasurer's report, please, Sharon.
Yep. In the roads funds, we have 28,822.58. General disbursement, $200,019.23. ICS account at C&B has $747,259.88. Michigan class, $1,075,111.63. Fire in C&B has $85,882.57. Our multi-bank security is $281,049.15, totaling $2,189,303.23. In our tax checking, we have $42,719.80, of course, that's of June, as of June 30th. And then the tax savings, $3,446.68. All fund balance total is $2,464,311.52.
Thank you, Sharon. Any questions? Chief Kessler, police report.
Hours worked this last month, 359 hours, miles patrolled, 2,196. Fuel usage, 259 gallons per month. 2 citations, 6 vehicle crashes, 12 assists to the fire department, a total of 75 incidents taken. 98 calls to the into the township from central dispatch. Actually, 61 were actually complaint calls. There were various information dispatches. 23 of those were outside of our scheduled hours. 2 of those calls, we were on other calls. 1 was not ours. It was placed in our packet for our information. Myself and Officer, between the 2 of us, we are 59% coverage, followed by state police and sheriff's department. I do have an issue of information. We received the final component for the new vehicle bill. I spoke to outfitter builder today, locking dates to get our vehicle built. As soon as he can get us in, the 2014 Charger goes in on the 21st of August to get stripped down of only necessary equipment. The 28th of August, the new Tahoe goes up for outfitting, and it's there about a week to 2 weeks and it'll be done. So another month, or over a month, we'll have that vehicle back. The 2014 will be off the road at that point in time. Actually, it'll be off the road the 21st, so all your communication equipment will be out of it. Also, we were contacted by a local subject, Keith Shoemaker, a new resident to the township. He's currently a surgical nurse. However, he's a prior public safety officer, worked in Kalamazoo, Bronson, Homer area. He's certified paramedic, EMT, he's a paramedic instructor. He's also a certified police officer. He's wanting to be hired on as a part-timer. He has a wife who's a nurse. Has 2 boys, obviously wants to be a dad. He's willing to work some hours. I told him I have to present to the board to see if he does. I talked to his references over the week. Not one negative from the references he gave. All of them, they were a future employer, they'd hire him in a heartbeat. Older man, level-headed. I would say he's not a young buck, so he's not having to make a name for himself. He just wants to come out and help. He's also a prior public or community police officer, which means he works well with the public. I would ask the board to give me permission to look into do a background investigation on him to see if he's a viable candidate for employment. And then the other thing is we have the current status of no other full-timer. I have not received any other applications for full-time except I received one from a young man out of Clinton who is a carpenter, who is a police officer, and is willing to go to the academy. With that being said, I talked to Mike recently. I do have information if the board is interested. Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards, the state passed a grant program basically allocating $25–30 million to all public agencies, municipalities, to sponsor candidates to an academy. The state would reimburse money to the township up to $30,000 to cover wages and some equipment necessary for someone to go to the police academy. I've talked to the sheriff's department, they've used this, they've had success with it from the state. The only stipulation is, and I just confirmed that with the MPOLS people, because I asked them if I brought someone on as a recruit, does this person have to be paid prior to going to the academy? They said no. This person just has to be a full-time paid employee day 1 of the academy. Once they graduate the academy, the money that the township is paid for wages, it's reimbursed back to the township. The two stipulations after that is if the employee decides they're gonna leave after going through the academy, the township cannot hold them to a contract, the township cannot force them to pay back money, which there would be no money to pay back because the state's reimbursing the money back. The sheriff's department told me they had a candidate in the academy that actually dropped out or failed after about midway through. The state reimbursed all the money back to them that they'd spent up to that point. So the program is workable, it's a viable option, I think. And I've had two candidates approach us for jobs that are, they're not certified. There's one out, and I didn't call the kid yet, a young man, I should say. He's from Onstead, and his list is similar to Mr. Shoemaker. I think if we were to approach that, maybe bring him on as a recruit, non-paid. The problem is the academy time. I checked these 3 academies, they are all full this year in the spring time. Washtenaw, I've got to call them, they are trying to have another academy in October of this year. So again, it's another issue if the board wants to look forward or more into that program to see if it's more viable and speak with the other academies to see if there's anything upcoming, I can do that. That is where we're standing with employment. So that's the only other option I have on the table right now is the sponsorship to the academy. So, and I said, the township would not be out money. The only thing the township loses realistically in the long run is you lose the 16 weeks of time someone's at the academy. You're paying them to go, they're being paid to go to school. The state reimburses the money back. So ultimately, if this person graduates, stays for a little bit, or doesn't graduate, or graduates and leaves right after, we've lost 16 weeks of time, but the money is reimbursed back to the township. There's no monetary loss at that point in time.
Even the wages?
Wages, that's what's paid, wages. So I figured it up, the sheriff's department starts their academy employees at $17.80 an hour. That's the higher end for part-time at the sheriff's department. Figure $17.80 per hour times 40 hours a week times 16 weeks. I figured at $17 an hour, it's like $25,000, and then you have a few for equipment you may have to purchase for the student at the academy. That's why the state puts it at $30,000 reimbursable. So it is a viable option, and right now that's the only option I have on the table for the township to seek, unless someone knows someone that wants to come work. No one is approaching us to seek full-time right now. So right now, we're just Officer McCann and myself, holding the farm down, so it'd be nice to get the third employee. So. And that's my report.
So the $30,000 you're saying will cover 100% of our expenses to send it in?
The $30,000 reimbursable money would cover the wages for the employee or the candidate while they're at the academy and any additional equipment. We don't pay.
Explain equipment.
Ammunition, any type, it depends what's not authorized or what's not available from the academy. The academies will usually have some equipment that they use for the trainings, ammunition, leather gear, whatnot. We might have to give them a couple uniforms to get through, those types of things, which is not reimbursable, so that would be something not part of that. So any additional expenses that the academy doesn't cover, the state will allow us up to another $6 grand besides wages, basically. So it's it's a total $30,000 reimbursable to the township. I believe I have enough equipment that I can probably get someone outfitted to get them through 16 weeks. There's a process I have to go through, a hiring process, and they're gonna be listed in our tracking system as a recruit candidate. And I said the only stipulation was that person has to be a paid employee day one of the academy. I have to reserve a spot, and then 10 days prior to that person starting the academy, I have to send the paperwork in, so the academy then sends it to the state, let them know that person is going to the academy for this municipality. And once it's done, the state reimburses the money. Now, the county is not paying any benefits while they're in the academy. So, it would be strictly wages.
Let's address this one at a time. You're asking about, let's go back to the first individual. And you want him as far as Part-time?
Part-time, he only wants to work part-time, and he would be a viable candidate for the fire department also, and I actually asked him, when I interviewed him, if he wanted to become on the fire department, he said, no, not right now.
And he's a local resident.
He's a local resident.
And what exactly are you asking? You said something about do a background check.
Right, in order to get him started in the process, I have to start doing a background check through the Cole's remittance system, and I have to see what his background says. I've done a preliminary as far as looking at his employment history. No negatives as far as the agencies, he was not released for anything, he was not basically, it's no different than Logan Evanson, who just left us. I had to go into the system and list him as he resigned his position, seeking full-time employment of other places. It's not a negative. As a police chief or as an administrator for an agency, if someone doesn't leave on good terms, you list it under that at that point in time. And it's tracked all through the state of Michigan. So far, I did a quick check, he has no negatives in his background at the preliminary level.
Is there a cost to run him through?
No. There's no cost to run him through Mitten, there's no cost to do any background on him at all. I just simply like work on my part to see if there's anything that pops up red flags.
There's no cost to the board, if you're not based on breaking any rules. I would say go ahead and get that done.
Okay.
And you can present that once you get it cleared, and I mean, basically like Scott's done here with the employees. It sounds great.
He sounds like he's references all said, very level-headed, very good thinker, very good people, knows his job. He's got a medical, I said, this guy's a reverse candidate. Normally, you get a guy that becomes a police officer, goes to work in public safety, becomes a firefighter, EMT, paramedic, then goes into nursing. This guy became a nurse, then went, I'm gonna go to the academy. He goes to the police academy, he goes to the reverse process. I don't know why you'd start with a higher dollar and go to a lower dollar, but that's what he did. So, but no, they just bought a house, they just moved here from the Virgin Islands. His wife is a traveling nurse, so they ended up being in the Virgin Islands for a year. Now they're back, he's working at Henry Ford, he's now working in Chelsea. So we're back to
Now, go to the, I think, obviously we want more information here.
Right.
Any other questions, comments on that, but, get that done, and like I said, sounds good. Now, the second guy, as far as going to the academy,
I just
when
know
are you
if you want me
prepared to do
to
that?
what's that?
When are you gonna be prepared to do that?
I have to, that's the problem, is I have to touch base with the academy and see when the next viable date is.
If it comes down to the point, you can't wait till the next meeting to present?
Well, I can present more at the next, it's
Okay.
just kind of a heads up what
Okay.
I'm telling the board's available to us for a potential candidate, because right
Sounds
now I
good.
have no certified officers running full-time. But I have two that are not certified, one is going to work full-time.
Scott can feel your pain too.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
All right.
So I will present more about that next month. I will have a better lock-in as far as, if the academies are all full till late next year, the chances of anybody at that point, it's gonna be moot anyhow. But I will talk to the guy at Onset, see if he's still available. I will then check into the academies. I said, the one in Washington said they might run an academy in October. Right now, the other two I checked with are full till fall next year. So it's just a program I think would be viable for the township. That's why the state came up with the money to reimburse other municipalities to know what's the.
Thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, an update on the Chevy Tahoe, there's a doctor see what's going on.
Yep, everything finally came in. I talked to the builder today. I said, we are good to go. And I noticed that I did, Bill, I put in your box, but it's not on the agenda for approval for the equipment for the Tahoe. But yes, it is ready to go. I just have to, he wasn't answering my emails. They're so swamped. I was trying to get an earlier build time. He says, as soon as I can get you in, is the 21st to get the old car stripped down, the 28th, which is the next Monday, to get the new Tahoe up and get it built.
Great.
Because the strip down, we're not paying him to strip the entire car down. I'm only having the communications equipment, and a couple front lights taken off to go on that vehicle. Once that car comes back, I will take it, I will strip out the cage and everything else to save us money. I'm not gonna pay someone else to take out equipment. Not gonna happen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Park and Rec, Dan is not here, so Sharon, would you please?
Yes, Dan is on vacation right now. As you know, we held our event on our 4th of July event on July 3rd. And overall, I think it was very successful. At our last Parks and Rec meeting, we did, excuse me, an after-action review. And some of the things that were identified, and I know we were being pretty critical on ourselves. If you spoke to anybody, it said they, oh no, it was a great event, but in the background, I could see things that we could improve on. Things like, we had a duck derby race, and we kind of waited till the last minute to clean the pond or the creek. We should have started that much earlier because it just threw so much on the last minute. Definitely need more volunteers to help cover the events. Once you were leading an event, you were pretty much there the entire day because we didn't have enough volunteers. Some of the other things that I saw was we had our food trucks, we had scheduled 12, 2 canceled that day, but we had them out in front, which worked out well, except we didn't have any tables there. So they had to carry their food into the park. But overall, all the vendors did well. And I think next year, we're gonna start charging food vendors to be there. Similar to what Metcalese does, you'll get you can charge like $25 if they pay and agree in advance. If it's last minute, it might be like $50. We'll work on that. We are, the Parks and Recreation Committee is working hard on getting tournaments in our park. Baseball tournaments. Pickleball, corn toss was a big thing at the 4th of July event. So 2 of the people came and they are from the club, and they're willing to help us get started. So I have somebody new that's is wanting to join the Parks and Rec Committee, and that would be her role, basically is setting up tournaments and understanding what is required. And she's already, even though she's not even on the committee yet, has done a lot of research. One of the things that we thought about is, whether we charge for events. And we had a young couple that just moved to the area that want to be volunteers for the park. And they suggested doing a bracelet. Buy a bracelet for $5 and they can participate in anything. So that might be a good idea for us. We need a PA system or some kind of megaphone to announce the events because things were happening at different times. And what we decided is every event that we do during the holidays, we need a lead on that event. What was happening is I was being pulled in so many directions for everything we did, and that just doesn't work well. So looking for leads for each event. One thing I would like to ask the board, so we want to get started for next year. 4th of July 2024 is on a Thursday. I'd like to know when we're gonna have fireworks so that I can already get the band that I want on that weekend. And you gotta do those far in advance. The food trucks, all of that need to be done far in advance. And so if we knew the day for it.
Okay, it was on a Thursday.
It's on a Thursday.
Well, you can check on having the 4th of July on the 4th of July. If that day's available,
yeah.
bring her back next month and we can vote on it then.
Yeah.
We'll look at Thursday and a possible rain day for Friday.
Yeah, that'd be
So,
perfect.
okay,
Great, so we'll.
let me lock
decide
that in
that.
with the fireworks people.
Okay,
Yeah,
First of
that's
all.
what's gonna be key,
Yeah.
if they can bring
Fireworks.
fireworks.
great.
And everybody was happy with the fireworks?
Oh, they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Good.
This is the first time we actually watched them from the park. We usually go home and watch them, but they were amazing.
Unlike everybody else, they held their price this year.
Did they?
Yeah,
What did they charge?
$13,500.
$13,500. Well, that's about it for Parks and Rec.
You wanna talk about burn house?
Well, it's,
At what stage is that?
yeah, it's, all the trim work has been, the 90, what, 75%, 80
Well, I
of
think
all the trim work is in now, and it looks amazing.
we're 90% complete on that, I would say.
Yep.
But then, well, once these guys get done goofing off next, what, 3-4 weeks? Yeah, vacation time, so.
Oh,
we
and I
understand.
probably should have mentioned
Jeff
that. I
is
will,
on. Go ahead.
yeah, the worker Jeff is on, will be on vacation for 2 weeks out of the country, and then I will be gone. Tonight's my last night for 3 weeks.
Okay, keep in mind, that would probably work for a PA system over there. We got a nice speaker there, it won't work for what we wanna do, but you can roll that over there, it's got a good loudspeaker.
Right.
One question I have is that the truck people had trouble getting a Wi-Fi when they did credit cards. They had to walk out of their truck and go out. Is the Burn House got anything Wi-Fi that,
Well, I
is that
think
in your plans?
It's going to be, it does.
we do have Wi-Fi, but it was taken, the equipment was removed for the
Yes.
construction.
Okay,
I'm gonna address
But on the other hand, it's really their responsibility to
Right.
be able to
Alright.
get their hotspot or whatever
Right.
you call it, but it's really their responsibility. Be nice if we had it available, but we're not obligated.
I don't know how much it would work out.
Even
If
beyond.
you're in front of the burn
yeah.
house, maybe, but out where the parking
okay,
lot down.
alright.
Any other comments? All right, over to the JCB, Dolores, please.
Jonesville Lumber, delivered our basement bathroom purchase, yesterday. They had a schedule. And, the plumbers will be calling me when they're, gonna be able to install it. Our September 9th fundraiser, we have 34 spots rented, and, we still have more spaces available, if anybody's interested. And that's for a, craft show, a flea market, and a farmer's market. And, we also have a food truck reserved for that day. Gotta give that a try. So, and we have a good turnout there. We've had 300 people come through. So as we keep, keeping this on, more and more people, will be coming in and supporting our great building. And, also, Frontier is coming in to install internet on the 25th, which will help out with different things. And I met with Mike and Abe at Jerome to talk about next year's, now this is possible, election at JCB. And I have, 5 volunteer hours.
What is your normal load for, you said you got 34 spots running?
Mm-hmm.
How's that compared to, say, last year?
It's the same right now as we did last year,
Okay.
only now we're having it inside and outside. So that's gonna create more spaces. Some people from inside last year wanna be outside, so
Okay,
that creates more spaces inside. So,
good.
Dolores, do you charge for your food truck? Are you charging them to
Not
be there?
this- no,
Not this first
no.
time, right?
yeah,
And then,
I didn't have a very good, I called maybe 8 different ones. Everybody's booked, and this lady finally she's from Osseo. It's, Coney Dogs cart. She has hot dogs and sausages and pulled pork and nachos.
My house, good dogs.
Oh,
that's not the
so
one at
we're gonna
Home
give it
Depot,
a
is
try.
No.
So,
Good.
no.
Anything else for Dolores? All right, moving on. Supervisor's report, to address the Wi-Fi and the security system and the cameras. I talked to the guy, actually, it would be a text, so when you talk anymore, I guess. He's supposed to be first part of next week, he's gonna come in and hopefully we get a solid date on finishing the security system and redoing the security system that we had in the burn house and getting that reinstalled. I'll put you a phone call about being done. first full week of August, the sixth, sometime in that week, is when he'll take it out. He said he'd get over there, sooner than that to get our trail off the church property, so that would be prior to that. Well, we'll discuss that later as far as the roads, the soft trail, chip seal of, Pinewood, Oakwood, and Bradley. We've got contracts to sign those, and, Blarney Circle and Tralee, they're complete, and I'm gonna talk to the guy on Monday. I don't think there's anybody here from that location, but the edging on the road, there's a pretty good little dip right there. The guy that mows the corner down there was complaining about it, so. Yes, that was me. Assessor's report. I can just put that over here. Assessor's report, all phone calls and emails that we have received from taxpayers have been returned. Everything in Michigan State Tax Commission has required for the audit has been turned in on time, and the audit of the assessing department is underway. Max doesn't expect to hear anything back until September, October, plus or minus. The July board of review was 7/18/2023. Here has the authority to hear appeals of principal resident exemptions, qualified, veterans exemptions, and qualified errors, including clerical errors and, mutual mistakes of fact. There were 3 veterans that were, awarded, whatever you wanna call it, and 1, what was the other one? Clerical error, whatever that was. Total 4 was seen, we didn't have anybody show up. December Board of Review has the same authorities and will meet on 12/12/2023. December 12th, 2023. Zoning Administrator, Don, please.
Zoning report, time period for this report is, June 12th through July 17th. 12 zoning compliance permits were issued, 12, site inspections were done, 2, finals issued on zoning compliance permits, 1 application for dimensional, variance was accepted. 1 rezoning was filed for. 58 contacts were made, the running total so far is 318. 4 compliance were issued or answered. Enforcement, 11553 Hillary got their 3rd notice. I'll be going there personally within the next 10 days. 11635 Chicago, received a 2nd, notice regarding health, safety, and welfare. He also has, got a notice from us, regarding, he needs a permit for repair work, he needs, sealed prints for making corrections on that building. I will follow up again with that. The letter's been in the mail a couple of days. I'll wait a couple of days and give him a call.
After, just a correction, it's 12/6/35.
12/6/35, yes. 14020 Grand Point, notice was sent 6/12/23, violation of section 4.2. No zoning compliance permit, no building permit. Since then, he has corrected this issue on 6/30/23. That's all I have.
Thank you, Don. Any questions? Don? Moving on. ARPA report, please.
Okay, where we stand on ARPA at this time is that, we have spent 90% of the ARPA money Out of the 476,049, we spent 426,384. 22% went to McCourty Park, 5 went to COVID. Municipal was 15%, KCB was 7%, the cemetery signs were 1%, and the burn house was 39. We have $49,665 $1,000 left, and we'll spend half of that if we approve the 3 invoices that are being brought forward at today's meeting. So we're getting down to the end of the line on spending $476,049, and the detail from last year and this year in the report.
Thank you, Mike. Questions? County Commissioner Brent.
Good evening. A couple of things as far as updates from the county commission. Number one, at our last meeting, we had a presentation from the auditor on the county's 2022 financial audit. That audit can be found by you or any of your citizens of the township on the county website if they want to go and view that. That also is on the state of Michigan financial reporting site, and they can go and view that there. That is 92 pages long. The thing to note on it, in 2022, the county did see a small increase in our county general fund balance of $11,825. Another thing to note on that is on page 31. Municipalities in the county can grant tax abatements to businesses and industries for investments in their building and equipment and stuff. The county, because of those tax abatements that were granted by those other local municipalities, saw a reduction of property tax revenue of $39,677 in the 2022 calendar year, not because of any action of the county, but because of action by the city of Hillsdale or the city of Jonesville or other local municipalities. I bring that up because at our June 27th meeting, Sue Smith, who is the director of the Hillsdale Economic Development Corporation, gave a presentation on some of the economic development that's occurring in Hillsdale County, some of the buildings that have been purchased recently. There's a firm that's moving into Litchfield from Canada. And Sue also made a comment that next week, I do believe it's July 27th, the governor is going to be announcing an economic development item in Hillsdale County. Sue was very tight-lipped on that information. I know very little more. Part of her discussion indicated something that the firm that's going to be having this economic development here has a research and development office in Ypsilanti, and that's about all that I know about it. And we'll maybe find out more next week on that. So, and again, that's nothing the county board of commissioners would have any say in if any economic development incentive money has been handed out as a result of that. Next week on Tuesday, the commissioners will have a presentation from MERS, Michigan Employee Retirement System, on the county's pension plan that was started in 2000 for the employees at the Sheriff's Department. That defined benefit plan was closed for new hires as of December 31st, 2020. And all new hires as of 1/1/2021 went on a defined contribution plan. That report will be in the agenda that will be available online tomorrow for the public to view. Last year, the pension plan increased from 65% funded to 68% funded on that defined benefit plan. When the windmills came into Moscow, Wheatland, and Adams Township, the Board of Commissioners at that time passed a resolution encouraging the commissioners to take some of the additional tax revenue from those windmills and contribute to that pension plan to try and bring down that unfunded pension liability And we have been doing that the last 2 years, and that's continuing forward this year. So we hope with ending that for new hires, we hope to have that to a funded 100% down the road. But it's something that is gonna continue to cost the taxpayers of the county some money for a while. That is all that I have. Any questions for me?
No.
Okay.
If it pertains to Somerset Township, then yes. If it doesn't, then you can talk to them later. Sorry about it.
You're fine.
Hillsborough County Road Commission, Mark sent me a text, he couldn't be here today, so that's what sparked me to ask about the roads and what's going on. I won't make a comment for us to make a mental note or a different note. My suggestion is on odd years, because that'll be the years that we're coming in last on brining, and we do one brining. We sort of, like right now, we're already paid for two. And just to keep a note on that. Moving on, Lenny, new.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everybody, Honorable Board of Trustees and constituents. It's really nice to be here today. So the Planning Commission did meet on July 11th, and so we have been going through all of the zoning ordinances that we have. Whatever we had received as suggestions due to the public outreach and also the attorney, we were able to sit through and discuss what ordinances that we are able to keep. The ones that are not enforceable are removed. Section 3.10.1, and I wanted to highlight that really for the many years we had the entire section contributed to smoke and to odor and all of those smoke. You know, it's very difficult to have any ability to measure smoke on Ringleman chart, and that has been always an issue. So this ordinance was a controversial ordinance, and again, so the section 3.10.1, which pertains to all of that, again, this has nothing to do with the Right to Farm Act. That will remain as is. This is in regards with any of defining smoke, odor, and so on. So, like I mentioned, some of the ordinances that are not enforceable will be removed, and that's what we've done. Moving forward, we did have a little bit of a highlight on the Woodstock Planning Commission. There was a public meeting on June 1st, and I think a little bit was shared at last meeting. We had gotten the notification because of the rezoning of a parcel, which was WD 107-1550. That was an agriculture to commercial C3. Now this parcel abutted to Somerset Township, so we were notified, and so 17 property owners were notified from our township. So we did have representation there, and we just wanted to show up at the meeting and to make sure that we have had enough of information in regards with it. So Woodstock Planning Commission, they approved their zoning from Ag to C3 again, and they will be submitting that to the Lenawee County. So again, we were only notified because we are about 300 feet. So just wanted to bring that up to you as well, as it relates with that.
That is a corner 12.
That is correct, yeah. The corner of 12, that would be the east side of the township of 2300 on east side of the township, that's right. So just wanted to keep that notified, keep you posted as to why we were notified, and we did have representation. And at this time, we are working closely with the zoning administrator as well for anything in regards to any of the permits and variances. As mentioned last time, I was able to attend a second phase of another meeting with the MSU Extension, again, at no cost to the township. Again, giving a complete differentiation between a permit and variance. And I like to bring that all the time because we deal with that all the time with the variances. And so in contrast, for example, for a variance and the permit, variances allow for approval to the uses and structures, otherwise they're prohibited because they don't meet the ordinance requirements, such as minimum property setback or whatever. But then the typical way, the way variance goes is that the applicant shows hardship or anything typically proving that that permission is granted to vary from ordinance's requirement, and then that's the only way the property can be expected to provide a reasonable use in return. So we do that, and we look at it very carefully simply because we really want to make that clear to our constituents that, again, the permit does not have to show hardship. Instead, the focus on just showing the proposed use and the conditions, which are already in the ordinance. So, again, we work very closely with the ordinance and our constituents in regards with that. So a couple of those items were presented again during our planning commission meeting, and so those were discussed. The special permits and the variances, both of them are utilized, again, to protect the integrity of the community and obviously the rights of the neighboring properties. And I just want to know if there is the particular framework that we put, that we do have the public hearing for that. So again, a lot of differences between public hearing and public meetings. So that was discussed as well, and Don Figuel from the zoning was kind enough to share materials on the differences between the two, which we, again, put it out there. The minutes are already on the website. As it relates with the next meeting, we will meet September 12th, and at that meeting, we will decide, again, because right now we're doing the public outreach, and we'd like to hear some more. So we will bring the final draft to our board, and then we will discuss to have a public hearing at a later stage, and then again we'll give that framework to Mike Bonet to go ahead and advertise that. In the meantime, again, it's really nice because I just feel that when we are here at the Planning Commission, we are working for the constituents and not the constituents for us. So it's really nice to have that outreach. We get a lot of public talk to us during the meetings through emails, telephone calls, let us know what they want to really see as it relates with what can and cannot be enforced. So just a little bit of this, wanted to share. If there's any question at this time that I can answer from the board, I'd be happy to.
Any questions?
All right,
Excellent.
thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Crystal Lake, Perch Lake, Sad.
Okay, we're in the second year of the Special Assessment District, and so far, revenues have been $50,470.75, and expenses are $38,947.41, with a balance of $11,523.34. They took this document to their annual meeting, and they made it part of the minutes, so they're updated on where they stand as far as the payments we've made to PLM, which is their water treatment people, and different things they've done as far as fish planting for water treatment and bubblers and that type of thing. So they have $11,523.34 left in the second year.
We're walking on it, you might keep it interesting. Your flash report.
All right, what we stand financially is for 12 months, for the fiscal year 2022-23, we have received income of $2,960,000, and we have expenditures of $2,630,000. So we're favorable to income versus expenditures of $330,000. We have the tax millage brings in $705, $704 on the sheet. Fire emergencies, $283, the state share was $336,000, ambulance was $365,000, ARPA was $360,000. So that's basically on page 1, favorable $330,000, which is comparable to the last couple of years. Looking at the budget, we're spending 78% of the budget, and there's several reasons for that. Roads, we did not get a bill from the highway department for last year for the $168,000 for Barney and Tralee, so that will be received next week. The fire services, we're short people, so the budget was higher than what the actual were. Police had the same situation. Parks and Rec, a lot of those programs were ARPA, and there was additional monies left over. So basically, the The budget, we were significantly below the total budget of the $3,379,000 for the year.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions? Moving on. Finances, that'd be the bill.
Okay, you may have your report because you have mine. All right, for, the period ending 7/21/23, we had $97,312 in, payables, and our total payroll, which out of quarterly was $67,914.57. In the payables, you can go through the attachment and see the major items. It's the insurance, it's the Decker, insurance, and it's the, other things we have on a regular basis, like the assessor, which is basically about $78,000 a month. So, at this time, I'll make a motion to approve the accounts payable for $97,312.10, and the payroll for $67,914.57, for a total of $165,226.67.
Motion made, I'll support. Questions, comments on bills? Vote down, roll call, please.
Humphrey?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bonet, yes. Shaw?
Yes, motion carried. Consent agenda, what's the motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion made and supported, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Unfinished business, okay, we'll go to number 1. Now it's ARPA.
Okay, the ARPA is for the 4 invoices, and Sharon, you can talk to those for a minute, please, while I sort through my paperwork here.
Last 4.
Yeah, I don't know if you just got.
In fact, let me call them out individually. For Gulchi, it's at $2,062.76. For the CR Electric, it's $13,170.75. And for Gauchi, it's another $9,668. And I think that's the 3, right?
That and plumbing was the 206.
Okay, I'm sorry. You have it there? And how much was that?
2,062.
Okay, that's.
76.
Okay, actually, Gauchi was
Yeah,
for
that
plumbing,
was-
right? Plumbing.
Yes.
Plumbing.
Okay, thank you.
And if I'm correct, that's the final on plumbing and the final on electric.
Correct.
Okay, and
Okay, at this time, I'll make a motion to approve those 3 invoices, $24,901.51. The Gauchi for $9,668, the electrical for $13,170.75, and the plumbing for $2,062.76.
Support.
motion made and supported. Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Humphrey?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bonet, yes. Shaw?
Yes, motion carried. Excuse me. Next one is the road commission. I thought we dealt with this, it was in the budget, and we discussed it, but it was not, contracts were not approved. So we need to do that. That's our County Road Commission. This is for description of work to be performed as the, berm and trench shoulders, replace culverts and add gravel to base and shoulders to reduce ground, pulverize existing pavement, and compact pulverized area in the top with 2.5 base and 1.5 top. And that's for, salt trail, 0.69 miles. At a cost of cost is $300,300. Let's just take these one at a time, they're a significant amount. They're basically gonna do soft trail like they did at Blarney and Trail.
I'll make a motion to approve the salt trail expenditure for, from Salt Trail from Baker Road to Lake Leanne, Lake Leanne Boulevard, for, $181,989, for road maintenance.
$980.
181,980.
Okay, motion made,
Support.
supported by Dave. Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Rich,
Yes.
Bonet, yes, Shaw.
Yes, motion carried. The next one is Oakwood Drive, basically the next three, Oakwood Drive, Pinewood Drive, and North and South Bradley Drive. What this is, the seal coat, fog seal for the three roads that we did last year. Those were just paper patch. They took a part of the road and cleaned it and filled it in, and now they've got to, do a fog coat on it. So, first one is Oakwood Drive. Cost of the township's 50%, which is a total of $16,380. Obviously, the total cost of the project, $32,760. I will make a motion to authorize this expenditure.
Support.
Motion made, supported. Any other questions?
I do have one question. What is fog seal?
You go over, yeah, there's the stone with the tar on it and all that. It's basically resealing the road and coating it, all look the same when it's done. Seal coat, fog seal, and pavement marking, okay? Doesn't explain it very well, does it? Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Rich,
Yes.
Bonet, yes, Shaw.
Yes, motion carried. Same goes for Pinewood Drive, and all these contracts, all the board members will need to sign them. Mike has the original. And Pinewood Drive is 0.41 miles. Our cost is $7,380. The total estimated cost is $14,760. I will move that we authorize this expenditure.
Support.
Motion made, supported. Any discussion, questions on that? Roll call, please.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Rich,
Yes.
Bonet, yes, Shaw.
Yes, motion carried, thank you. Last one is North and South Bradley Drive, Bradley Drive loop there. Same thing, seal coat, fog seal. Our cost is $26,100. This is for 1.45 miles. Total cost, estimated cost is $52,200. And I will move that we authorize this expenditure.
Support.
Motion made, supported. Any further questions, comments on that? Roll call, please.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Rich,
Yes.
Bonet, yes, Shaw.
Yes, motion carried, thank you. All right. 3 is the community. Beating a dead horse here, but, matter of fact, I looked earlier and I got a call back from this guy, US Solutions, or whatever it is. I got the number from Brent, he did the county. I didn't take the call, obviously, here with the meeting, so.
We're having a hard time hearing you.
Pardon me?
Can you speak up just a little? We're having a hard time hearing you back there.
Oh, okay. I will do my best.
Okay, thank you.
All right. What we're talking about is a community room, audio visual. I thought I had a good lead, the way you guys talked. each state, he said. So I did get a call back just today, tried it 4 or 5 times today, tried it 2 weeks ago, he said he'd send me an estimate, but yet to receive anything. There again, anybody knows anybody that can get this set up, call me. But anyhow, that will be on next month's agenda also. Okay, fire department addition. I have basically no new information on that, other than, you know, I had a call out to another one, with actually Kendall Construction today, and I got a call back from him, and he said he couldn't do it this year. He wants me to do it next year, which we can't do that. We have to do it, like Scott said, we're gonna have an ambulance in here in September of this year. So I guess what I'm asking the board is, if I can get more estimates, I will, but, I'm not gonna promise anything, because, the estimate that I do have, and then the one from, Ryan's Construction, broken that out. What I'm asking is, we do this similar to we did the farmhouse, we have all the documentation, I will piece this together. I think I can get that done in that time frame, and I need to move forward with this. It'll take me about 30 days probably to get the permits to be able to get it done. So the $200,000, and if we can do that without exceeding $200,000, then that's what I'm asking to be able to do.
What are the 2 bids you have right now, how much?
Well, the same as the last one, one was 291, and that was basically just the walls and the interior. But, the Ryan's Construction, 110, and, that was for the structure itself, but we're gonna use the same guy that Scott has, the rest of the doors, the electrical, the same guy we've done, but I will get, you know, bids as I can. I can't force anybody to bid on it. I honestly thought I'd be able to get one more bid to bring it in here for this meeting, but it's just like trying to hire somebody to help you, you know, it's just, this world's nuts right now, people. I mean, everybody knows that, but, it's sad. So, if we wanna house a new ambulance, we need to move. I'm sorry to put you in that position, but that's where we are, and that's where I am. Like I said, I thought I had this AV thing worked out, but it isn't. So.
So it has been budgeted for in 2023 budget, correct?
Yes.
That's the amount it was budgeted for, was the 200K, that's what
Yes.
we set
That
aside?
would be the ceiling, yes.
And we definitely wanna keep our ambulance in the garage.
Well, the issue's the same as it was last time, is that it's a major project, and he's trying to get a 3rd bid, and we only have 2,
Right,
so,
and they're complete.
and they're not even close.
Right.
Yeah, and we've done our due diligence as far as, you know, you can come back with 1 bid, if nobody else, you get 3 or 4, 2, actually just 2 no bids. But,
Yeah, it's hard.
The 291 guy, which is beyond the budget, we can bring him under 200.
no, my recommendation, the budget's 200, and I'll probably go with Ryan's Construction. I've dealt with both of these people, and Jimmy and everybody, that, you know, really don't wanna get bids from somebody I absolutely don't know or doesn't have a good reputation. But I've got no contacts, put the word out there, so we need to get this done.
It really is. But I still feel it's too bad that we couldn't get at least one more bed, you know?
And I'm confident that it would not be below the 110,000. You know, I will, like I said, if I get authorization tonight to go up to the 200,000, I've got 30 days to work on this, because it's gonna take me roughly that, talk with Don, probably time I get the permits and all that. Yeah.
Excuse me, Jim,
We'll start that.
I'm sorry, but we couldn't hear what the bidding was for, that's all, I just wanna ask what that
We're
is.
putting on an addition, we're adding an ambulance, we wanna get this other trailer inside, we wanna get the boat put in this other addition. So, working with Scott, we're gonna go out 36 feet across the driveway on the north side of the building. That'll give us, well, it'll be 4 more bays, and it's just gonna be a bays, it'll have drain in the floor and a half.
3 walls and a roof.
It's crazy. One bid was $291,000, complete, turnkey and all that. But, I can get it done for 200,000, that's the point. And that's what we're working on.
Who was it that did the design of it? Or engineered it?
His name, I don't know. I've got the prints, we've had prints for 6 months, but
That's all right, I'm sorry.
anybody has any questions, see me afterwards, I've got the prints in the back. Leave. No, go ahead.
You will have like a general contractor.
Yes, like I say, we'll run this like we did the burn house, I'll get the bids and piece.
I'll make a motion.
Motion being,
Up to 200,000, so let Tim and Mike assist
that'll work.
getting the bids and getting moving forward on the expansion.
We can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Motion was to authorize up to the $200,000 that we budgeted to get this addition put on.
Thank you, I just couldn't hear. I couldn't hear Dave, I'm right by the fence, sorry.
The lead group is a design, Prince, right, motion on the floor,
Support.
supported. Any further discussion? Not exactly where we want to be. Roll call, please.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Gretsch,
Yes.
Monette, no. Shaw,
Yes. Motion carried.
Can you just repeat the whole motion, because like I say, I could not hear what you, do you have the whole motion, Mike?
Greg,
Can you just read back to us the motion, because we could not hear?
the motion is to allow, Tim Shaw to manage the, addition for up to 200,000. Okay.
What does manage mean?
I would be hailing it basically, we did with the burn house with the general contractor.
And doing the contracts, would that bring, you don't have to come back to the board with contracts before they're approved and all that? Same as the burn house? Same as the burn house where you have the authority to make the contracts, you
Mike
don't
and I
have to
will
bring?
take care of it, yes.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. Thank you.
The renovation of the municipal building, I'm in the same boat with that. That is not pressing. So when you get it done, I am still working on that. We want to take the siding off of this and put new siding on. This end of it's all original. And if you walk in, you see that, it's all rotted, nails are hanging out, same thing along the sides. So, again, I'll throw it out there, if anybody knows a good contractor that they want to recommend, all ears.
Is it just the siding that needs to be repaired
No.
or replaced?
2 doors over here, that doors from Scott needs to be replaced too. But that's the main thing that we need to get done, is the siding and 2 garage doors.
You want somebody to give you information on siding?
You what?
Well, I was gonna say, you asked if we knew somebody, I would say the Calabot Construction on, they're on Church Road.
And anybody has any information on construction, get with me.
Okay. Gotta get your info.
Yeah, Mike, cell numbers, I can even post it out
That's allowed here.
Yeah, 517-748-1134. It's
Okay,
out
I
there,
can
it's on the
remember that.
website. All right, thanks for that card.
76.
So do we have any bids at all on the building? I mean, this is our
One
building?
bid, and that was from Ryan again, is 32,000. That's just for that doesn't include the doors like you get, we'll use the guy that put these other doors in, and did all the installation of the garage doors, so we have one individual contact. But
And these doors have nothing to do with the addition to the building?
they don't, but I think they'll work it in there, we'll see.
Well, we voted on it, but I'm just wondering if.
Well, no, the doors to the fire station have nothing to do with
With
the
the
addition.
addition,
All right,
okay.
I understand your question. I missed it the first time. This here is, basically the existing building. The addition's separate, but this is the existing building that we have, that we need to rework the outside. Hopefully, if I can get somebody lined up, or another guy come in, I'm hoping to have a recommendation. Because we can do that just by right up until the snow flies, or even after the snow flies. Those crossing is there. Zoning ordinances, what's the deal with that?
Okay, on the codification of zoning ordinances, the book that you have in your hand right there, we did it in 2015. We need to have further discussion with the planning commission and along with the zoning administrator. Don, what are your thoughts on codification?
It would put everything into one place. When you turned over in, what was it, 2016, there was a problem. Nobody knew where anything was. And this would have, it's all in the book. You know, you just have to find the correct thing. It's all done in order. It's been approved by, the township. I mean, everything is there, makes it easy for transition. That's the hardest part of this job, is transition.
Well, it also gives the judge over in, probably judge over in Hillsdale, the document to refer to, right?
Definitely.
Okay. I think we need one more meeting with the planning commission,
Okay.
if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I just would like to have more information on this, to bring it back on, because we will meet September 11th now. So, at that time, if you could give us some more information and bring it, what's the
It's a
cost?
$5,000 expenditure.
So, and do we have any budget on this?
At this point in time, I think it's in the, I'll have to double check on that, I can't answer that right now.
Okay, yeah. All right, let me know when we have
Okay.
all that information.
Fine.
We'll bring it back and we need to discuss on that on September 12th.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Mike.
What do you have for budget on that?
Okay, we have no budget amendments for last year, so we're clean as far as we went through, and everything's good with the auditor as far as what they asked for last year.
The retirement package, was unclear to some as far as, basically we are adding a retirement package for the full-time employees. Something that, right now we pay $1,000 a year for the full-time employees into, I think it's a MERS account. What we budgeted was only $500 per month, which is $6,000 per year, which in my mind still isn't a retirement, and it's not, it's still a defined benefit, excuse me, back up, also, it's a defined contribution, not a defined benefit. I mean, we know what the cost is gonna be, and at 6,000 years, it's something, it's, you know, not real comparable, probably on the low end of everything, but, that's what we budgeted, so, I guess I'll open the floor up here if you want.
Well, we're talking about the, police chief, fire chief, the EMS coordinator, the librarian if it becomes full-time, and who else would it be?
The option, again.
Sorry,
And
Chris.
and the additional.
Chris McCann.
But I thought it was full-time.
Any full-time,
full-time. It would be-
Chris is full, any full-time
Yeah,
employee.
no, I thought you were talking about
No, 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 it would be, you got another full-timer.
So is there any matching involved?
No, not with that. We still have, they can still contribute. I think, I don't know, John, but some of them put up to 10% in now. But that's just a flat fine contribution that we will put in towards an individual protector. Not only going to benefit John or Scott, but hopefully that entices some new members to participate. Right now, we aren't there. And we don't offer some benefits, we don't offer something to entice people to get here. We can, don't worry about the ambulance, because we don't have anybody man. And because it's not gonna be me, much more.
Okay, so I heard John say an additional officer when they bring them on for the police. The, fire would be additional, paramedic,
It's any full-time.
any full-time employee, okay.
Just keep it that simple, if you know anybody doesn't, you know. So. Yeah, I discussed that when we were presenting the budget. Like I say, there's some that were unclear on that.
Tim, what is it now?
We pay $1,000 a year.
And what do you want to increase it to?
It's $500 a month is what we're putting in. It's $1,000 you're not retired. You know, it's just not retired. 6,000 is really not, but it's better than some, but it's not as good as most. I'll say. And it's being a defined contribution. It's, basically we have a fixed amount, and when they retire, we're done paying an amount on that individual. For defined benefit, you still have to cover the cost, and that's where Brent was talking about with theirs being 68% covered. See, John's always perking up when you get that covered. So. Any other questions?
And that has been budgeted for?
Yeah, that's what we budgeted for the retirement package. That's what we presented on the, John said that, but I know Scott has talked, or Keith, has talked to individuals about, that's the retirement as far as, we're not beating the doors down either, so. I don't know what the answer is.
How did you come up with that number? What,
Honestly, that's half of what I had. And like I said, for $6,000, that's not much. It really is. You know, that comes with that would be I think we had a 5-year vested, which means after 5 years, it's your money. Now, if it goes at 457, then it's their money when we drop the money in the account. But, if they stay here for 3 years, that $6,000 would not be 100% theirs.
will,
Would not.
would not?
If we put it into something besides 457 into it. I don't know what the name of that account is. You happen to know that?
I mean, like a 401K?
No, that's the same. Public is 457, it is a 401.
Right, that's what I mean, you're talking about that.
403,
403.
403B.
403B is what I think is what we're talking about, but that would, if that's what you want to do. If everybody wants to say, just put it at 457, I think that's what these guys are contributing to now, then that's this board's decision. I'm saying? As
All
far as-
full-time employees will receive $500 a month as a retirement benefit. And they would, once we pay that, we have no additional liability.
Once that person retires and our liability is done. What I will do, and, that comes with, like I said, with the next administrative assistant, is we get something drawn up, descriptive, because it's gonna be, in my mind, we could give the different options in that, and bring that to the next meeting.
Good.
But this is the way the retirement's gonna be set up, if they so choose to take retirement. That be all right?
So if they leave, if they retire, it's theirs, and we have no further, we're done.
Right.
What if,
Unfunded liability.
what if they're released? Does that change anything?
If they're
If they're
vested, I
fired?
believe it's still theirs.
It is.
I can look at that if they're unfavorably terminated or whatever, whether we can do anything with that or not. I don't know.
The only thing I can tell you in the contracts I got is theirs.
Yeah, that's what I kind of think too. Okay. Anything else? Hopefully it'll be more descriptive and have a piece of paper in your hand and have the total benefit package that we can walk through, because that will approve the whole thing next month.
Okay, so Teddy, you're just talking about it, we're not voting.
Well, that's what we're gonna write it up as, yes. We'll vote on the total benefit package next month. Any other questions? Okay, the librarian, administrative assistant, I thought we dealt with that, but, oh, we did. But anyhow,
No, we didn't have a job description. We had the job description of our current job. We didn't have the additional responsibilities.
okay, and.
Do we have it now?
I do not have one.
So then we need to continue to table it until we get that, right? Isn't that why we didn't approve it?
Okay, we'll put a vote total package together, and that will be, included in that then.
No action taken.
Sure.
No action taken. Moving on to new business. Police body cameras. You wanna go ahead and touch on that?
Yes, I know it was a late addition, prior to Keith leaving, we were in discussion, of getting body cameras. The top bid is, there's 3 vendors listed, Axon, Digital Ally, GTAC. Keith had spoken with Axon, they were the more detailed, all of them were 5-year plan. Our bid, the quotes are were given also. Axon is the more detailed, the representation from them, I feel, is the customer service has been great, they handle our tasers. They have a very detail oriented, I got a hold of Digital Ally and GTAC myself, asked for a 5-year, or for a quote for 4 body cameras, same as Axon. As you can see, their bids came in significantly less, but they're also less detailed. I talked to agencies with Digital Ally, I've received mixed reviews. I'm not a proponent of, the sheriff's department has Digital Ally, but the cameras themselves are a wired camera, which means they have a camera with a wire that leads to the transmitter, the recorder system, versus Axon, which is a solid unit. Chief Niles, who's been part of our agency, has purchased Axon. I talked to him and another agency about Axon. Customer service is great, replacement is awesome, they have no issues with the camera systems. The GTAC company, I contacted him after I went to the Chiefs Conference in February. I got a original bid, I tried to get more information, it took forever for him to get the bid to me, or the quote to me. I wanted agencies that I could speak to about the cameras. He finally sent me a list, all the agencies were listed, were out of Ohio and Indiana, not out of Michigan, which I thought was kinda odd. I even asked him for bids for computers, because or Axon for $6,000 for the first payment per year, or for this first year. I believe the company is probably our best one. One of the added features is, of course, with everything you buy, it's an additional cost. I talked to Tom Whitaker, head of 911. The Axon camera does have the capability of being GPS tracked, which means if we're out of the car, they can track us at 911 in case there's an emergency. If they lose us, they can find us through GPS coordinates on the camera. I think it's a good quality camera. Jay has spoken nothing but high reviews. This includes all the licensing, warranties, the equipment, the docking station. One of the features with the Axon that Keith had requested, I agree with, is called a gun trigger. Basically, when the officer pulls his sidearm out, it triggers the camera to go off automatically no matter what. Okay, that's one of the triggers. There's different triggers you can purchase. That was one him and I both agree was very, as part of this, which I think is necessary. Cameras are gonna be, we're the last agency, I think, I take that back, Jonesville was not, but I think Jonesville and us are the last agencies in the county not to have cameras. First, I can tell you from personal experience now, after the homicide from last year, the first thing everybody asks for now is body cam footage. Body cameras hold us to a higher standard, it holds the public to a higher standard because it's transparency. I know that Steve received a complaint from a resident in regards to my contact with her. If we'd had cameras, I could have showed, now it didn't turn out to be nothing, but I could have showed Steve the camera footage between her and I's interaction. I will tell you my gut feeling, and I've talked to several chiefs from other agencies also, eventually either the state or the federal government is gonna mandate the cameras in order to receive any type of grant money or your state, training money is gonna come down. Eventually it's gonna be tied to it some aspect. I can see it coming down. It's just the nature of the beast, so I'm just requesting the township, or the board to allow me to sign the agreement with Axon to start this, so we get this, I get the cameras here, get Policy Road, and get them active for our agency. I said, it's there, I said, I think they're the best camera system to go with.
Okay, thanks, Tom. All right, what's the board's wishes?
Chief, did you have any budget?
I budgeted, yep, that was part of my budget request for this next year, was the additional cost to cover the cameras for this year, and then the year after, I will make sure the budget, it's budgeted for that specifically.
I'll make the motion that we allow Chief Gesner to enter into.
Dave, I can't hear you.
I make a motion, Chief Gesner enter an agreement with Axon for the cameras.
For $29,741.19 for 5 years.
Yes.
Which is $5,948.23. Is that your motion?
Yes.
I
Yes,
support.
and supported by Sharon. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Gretsch,
Yes.
Bonet, yes, Shaw.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike, the Axon Fund Insurance, 17,530 and 70.
Okay, this is our accident fund, which covers basically anything that happens on site or if you're doing township business elsewhere. Last year was $17,330. This year they want $17,530. Now, there's always an audit at the end of the year. If there's any additional cost, we don't know that until later on in the end of the year. But right now, the policy is $17,530.70. And as I say, last year was $17,330.
So it went up $200 in a year,
Mhm.
Yep.
like everything else.
So I'll make a motion to approve, accident fund for, this, year for $17,530.70, effective 7/19/2023.
Motion made,
Support.
supported by Sharon. Any questions, comments?
What company is that with?
That's Axman Fund, that's a company.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Rich,
Yes.
Bonet, yes, Sean.
Yes, motion carried. Next item is the fire chief recommendation effective 7/2023, approve hiring of Travis, is that Tina? EMT, approve hiring of Keegan McKenna, firefighter, approve hiring of Zachary Morris, firefighter.
And two of them will be paid on call, and one will be a part-time employee.
Is
Sorry,
the
say it
EMT
again.
part-time or
Yeah, it'll be part-time.
EMT's part-time?
Okay. Or paid on call.
EMT's, gonna be part-time, the other two will be paid on call.
Thank you.
I will move to, authorize recommendation of, the fire chief to hire these three individuals.
Support.
Questions, comments? Moved by Dave.
So you couldn't get anybody at all, now you got three?
Well, not medics.
By law, everybody has to be on site now.
We did get a couple people respond to the part of the full-time ad, so I'll have somebody at the next meeting for you.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Is money gonna vote?
Money, okay.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Rich,
Yes.
Bonet, yes, Sean.
Yes. Normally in the consent agenda. Maintenance person to replace Dave Gould as the board members. You've got your package there, Dave has resigned as our, maintenance guy. Done various duties as far as minor things around the building here, he empties the trash over there, he fills the softener. Do we have any idea of the average hours that this guy works?
No, he does, I don't have the exact hours, because he empties the trash twice a week. He does it on special events. He also does the water softener, checks on every 2 weeks, and the furnace filler every 2 weeks, and then he does minor repairs, so it's flexible, I can't really give you
So you don't have the answer as far as?
the answer, no, I don't know.
Okay. Basically, we're gonna just replace Dave, the guy's gonna do similar work, we don't know how many hours.
I posted the job on the website, and I have the job description, and I'll, like I say, the hours are variable.
We've had one individual step forward that he'd be interested, so he's been volunteering with your Parks Committee. So we'll have a recommendation next month's meeting.
Yeah, I have, it's on the website, you got my number, and I'll interview, okay?
Is that the only interest you've received so far? Just the
I'm
one?
sorry?
Is that the only interest in the position that you've received?
2 people have come
Two.
forward, yeah. It's only been up there since today.
West Shore, fire, Jaws of Life. Scott, you wanna touch on that?
Yeah, we need to replace our jaws, they were purchased, I believe it was 94. And we actually have, the spreaders are actually broke, and they're so old they can't get parts and they can't repair them. So we need to get a new set, and, West Shore has a demo set that we demoed here. And we demoed 3 of them, one from West Shore, Hamacho, then Genesis and Hearst. And, Hamacho actually had a demo set they've used for about a year now, that they brought out, we used that, everybody liked. And, they'll give us a full warranty, just like a new set cap and everything for about, a new set was $46,000 from these guys. Genesis was 48, Hearst was about 50. And, we can get this demo set for 34, $942.65.
You said the warranty is the same on this side?
Yeah, same as the new warranty on it.
we're not.
That's why my equipment budget went up so high in this budget, because
Right, we're not gonna trade the old ones in, we're keeping the old ones.
Well, I'm gonna see if they give us anything for it, but I highly doubt they're going to. But when he brings the other ones, I'm gonna see if he can give us something for it.
Now, these are
They
E-Jaws?
can't even fix them, so they're not gonna be able to return them and resell them.
Are these E-Jaws or?
Yeah, they're battery operated electric drills.
What was that fire department language, what'd you call it?
They're electronically battery operated,
Okay,
and where the other ones, you've got a cord to drag around. But these here, you can use all three tools at the same time,
all good.
and so, can't beat them.
And actually, it comes with more equipment than we already had, because we don't have RAM and all that kind of stuff, it just comes with RAM and which, for gas rolling and all that good stuff.
Okay, I'll make a motion to purchase the, Jaws of Life from West Shore Fire for, $34,942.65.
I'll support.
Motion made, supported by Dave. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Rich,
Yes.
Donat, yes, Shaw.
Yes, motion carried, thank you. Scott, you still have a clue?
Oh, yeah, I'm on the radio. Yeah, that's the new radio for, the new ambulance. It's a combination of UHF, VHF, and 800 radio. So instead of having 3 radios in a radio, I'm only gonna have 1.
Is it in the budget?
Yeah. Yeah, that'll actually come out of the county ambulance association money. The county village money.
I'll make the motion for the chief to get the new Motorola mobile radio for $7,721.55.
Thank you, Dave. Support?
Support.
Supported by Sharon. Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Gretsch,
Yes.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Donat, yes, Shaw.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, now we'll pass over. Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is our Alexa, this is the company that manages our policy manual. It's a one-year annual payment. They constantly look into all, like, like our pursuit policies, our firearms policies. They research, they get all the new updates, they get all the new laws. They add them to it, they send them to me, I look them over, I approve them. I won't say much, but we were 66 days behind since 2020. That's all I'll say, so I have a lot of catching up to do. It also allows me to institute what's called a daily training bulletin. And basically, it forces the officers to review policy on a regular basis as I dictate. It was a feature that was been there, has not been used. I'm gonna start instituting that once I get the updates caught up. I just did the online training with their policy people, so I was aware of all the features, which I was not aware of prior. Chief, I actually forgot about this until their new rep contacted me via email, like, hey, where's I said, there's a bill for this in there. And so this is the bill that I got invoiced, and then she started to let me know what was going on. And once I got into the system, I realized we were way behind where we should be. So it just helps keep for our liability purposes. It allows us to stay on top of all current trends, all new policies, all new laws coming down that affect law enforcement community. Like I said, 2 biggest ones probably pursuit, and they've actually added some new stuff on there for emergency management, which is required by laws. Also, there's some the requirement for wellness training that's got to be part of this, that's required through the state protocol. So I got to look through these and see how to institute some of these things through our training environment within the department. But we are now getting caught up on that. So this is just the annual bill for that. And yes, it was in the budget.
Is this an online manual or is
It is online. They send it to me, I look at the updates, I authorize them, I can get them back, I can change some stuff if I feel it's pertinent, I can add to it, which are some changes coming that I'm going to add. I can tighten the standards up, and I think I have the capability of printing it. There's a whole plethora of stuff that allows me to manage this system now. I said, that's, for my ask, I said, you know, instead of being on the road 2/3 of my time, 1/3 of the time in the office, I'm not in the office 2/3 of my time, 1/3 of the time I'm out on the road, you know, as much as I can, but once I get past the updates, it'll smooth out a lot. I just gotta get these updates done. So we are on solid footing with the policies for the agency and the township.
What's board wishes?
Well, I certainly support the purchase of a policy manual. I think that's so important to have. I wish all departments had it. So I make a motion to approve. The annual law enforcement policy manual in the amount of $2,760.19.
Motion made,
Support.
supported by Dave. Any other questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Humphrey,
Yes.
Rich,
Yes.
Ahmed, yes, Sean,
Yes, motion carried. Next one is the ARC 10 later for AV board and JCB. Should that be 55?
Okay, what I wanted to do was get this on the agenda so that when I get more information of the Bureau of Elections and from Abe Dean and get a better understanding of what the parameters are on having a AV board. As Laura said, Abe came over, looked at the facility, was satisfied that it would be, you know, the type of facility that could be self-contained in that lower room downstairs. And that if in fact, timing-wise, for the November election, if in fact that timing worked with some things are changing law-wise that we have to get updated on, but I just wanted to let you know that if we put a tabulator in there, it'll be an additional $5,000 for a AV counting board. So that's just a heads up now, and I'll have better information in August.
Abe said 5,500.
Well, I got it for about 5,045. He,
Okay,
you know,
good.
he got what he got, I got what I got.
Good, all right. That's just information. Is that right?
That's what?
No action needed?